Okay. Alright. Sorry. Had to start that over again. Anywho, what I was saying, in the last one, because I was having some internet issues, is since we have talked about the shadow work and everything else, I thought it would be a good idea to go ahead and move into the particular abilities that would be enhanced once you have kind of gotten past all that other stuff, or at least started working on all that other stuff. And since I'm horrible about remembering, the names, I know the abilities, that's not an issue, but remembering the names, I made myself notes. Okay. And there were 6 of them. There were 6 main ones. Now, granted, there are 3 additional ones that have been added. That I mean, I don't know why they were added. We'll discuss them anyway, okay? But we'll get to those in a minute. We're going to discuss the 6 main ones, okay? We're going to discuss first one of my faves, okay? And that is the clairaudience, all right? So that is, honestly, that is simple. That is clear hearing, okay? Now, it can be different for everybody, okay? It can be different for everybody. But clear hearing is clear hearing. And what that essentially means, hello everyone, what that essentially means is you hear what others don't, as if it's right next to you, okay? Could it be a conversation? Sure. Could it be a scene from a movie? Honestly, it's the strangest thing how they choose to communicate. Sometimes it just doesn't make any sense. But if you hear it clearly and it is not there and nobody else hears it, that's clairaudience. Okay? Because it is clear hearing of the inaudible. To sum it up and be very simple in explanation, that's what it is. And this can happen at the strangest times. It's really weird. That can happen when you're driving in your car. That can happen when you are on the potty. That can happen when you're on investigation. It doesn't really matter when it happens. Funny thing is, just because it happens doesn't mean that you're supposed to partake. That's where it gets kind of tricky, okay? And you kind of got to feel it out, because you don't want to be asking people that aren't there if they're talking to you in front of everybody, because that can get a little confusing to the people around you that don't know what's going on. So if you hear something, it's totally okay to acknowledge it. I'm not telling you not to. But what I am telling you to do is kind of make sure it's for you, because you might just be hearing it, but they're not seeking you out. Okay? Which is totally fine. They're not obligated to, okay? Any more than you're obligated to talk to them if they do. You don't have to, okay? But so what I do is I kind of wait for them to get a little persistent, okay? I might eavesdrop on the conversation for a minute, see what they're talking about. Is it something that I think that they're wanting me to involve myself in? Are they talking to me? Are they wanting me to interact? Just because they're there doesn't mean they do, because they might not even see me. Okay? We forget that. We truly forget that, y'all. Hey, everyone. We forget that, yes, 9 times out of 10, we can't see them. Sometimes they can't see us either. Okay? So if they're talking, and they're talking to each other, or if one is talking and I can't hear who they're talking to, I'm going to listen for a minute and make sure that it is something that is something that I need to interject myself in. Okay, so basically summing that up, clear hearing is exactly that. It is hearing what is inaudible. Okay, so that's the simplest one to explain. Now, we're going to go into clairvoyance, which is clear seeing. This is the one that freaks people out. Included this gal. right here, okay? Because you really can't prepare yourself for that. You know, because you don't know what they're going to show you. You know, you don't. And they're not shy. They're not embarrassed for the most part. Or they just don't care. I mean, for whatever reason, they don't care sometimes. And they will show you whatever. Okay? So when you're talking about clear seeing, it is exactly that. But it varies upon each individual, living or dead, as to what they show. Let me see, is that, hello, sorry, y'all, I need new glasses so bad, I gotta make an eye doctor appointment. But it depends on both the living and the dead as to what is seen, okay? The dead might show you, you know, a certain way, but your brain might process it a different way, because that's your guides kind of stepping in and saying, okay, so they're getting a little graphic. We know that Vanessa maybe not be quite there to handle that right now, so we're going to tone it down a little bit. Okay? They'll make up for it in a different area, believe you me. But at least my vision might be spared somewhat. And with clear vision, you want to think that means that you're going to see them in corporal form. Not always. Again, just like clairaudience and clear hearing, clairvoyance, clear vision is yes, clear seeing, but seeing what? Are you seeing a shadow person? Are you seeing a full body apparition? Are you seeing somebody as if they were sitting there right next to you? Are you seeing them in sepia form, in like an old photograph? It's just seeing. You're seeing something. Now, when you work with that, when you acknowledge that sight, and you start to work with that, and you start to communicate with them, you will notice that it becomes stronger, that it becomes more clear, either by your effort put into it, or by their comfort in your presence. Never forget that. Okay? They have to be comfortable with us too. So, you know, it isn't always that, oh, just because she can see me and just because she can hear me means that they're going to love me. No. Not me or anybody else. And if anyone ever tells you they get something every time, they're lying. Big time. Do I get a lot? Darn tootin' I do. Do I get more than I want? Pretty much. Do I get something every time? No. And I am forever grateful for that. You know, Vanessa in all her lives takes a collective sigh of relief, okay? But so with the clairvoyance, with a clear sight, that's what it is. It's sight. Again, you can take the clear out of all of them. You know, take the clear out of all of them. They just are what they are. But they're all based on your comfort level, where you're at, where they're at, their comfort level, and what needs to be portrayed. Okay? So, does that make sense how I'm explaining that? Is that understandable? Because I want to make sure that I'm not putting that in a way that is too hard to understand. Okay, so y'all let me know if that makes any sense, and I'm going to come back to it. Now, the next one, this is, I want to say, this is the hardest. Okay, what do you say? Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I want to say this one's the hardest, because this one actually is the one that if you're going to mistake this for something else, it's going to be this one. And that's clear feeling. And that is called clairsentience. Okay? So with clear feeling, this is the one that really trips people up. Self-included. Okay? Because feelings are feelings. Are they mine? Are they yours? Are they somebody else's? Is it energy that was transferred onto me from somewhere I went? Is it an imprint environment of the location that I'm at? Am I just feeling that vibe, or is this real? Hardest one, at least for me. And I am 100% willing to admit that. Because especially in your early developmental stages, when it comes to this, whether you're starting at 2 years old like I did, or whether you're starting at 32 years old or 52 years old, in your earliest developmental stages of pursuing this path, the feelings are the ones that kind of work your nerve the most, because they're the hardest ones to differentiate. They're the ones that you're going to poo-poo away. They're the ones that make you question your own sanity. They're the ones that make others question your sanity when you're honest about them, you know. So this is where, and I've said it, if I've said it one time, I've said it a million times, okay? This is where the notebooks come in handy when it comes to clairsentience, when it comes to clear feeling. When you have those feelings, this is when you have to learn to categorize, to compartmentalize and categorize. You have to learn how to separate yourself from what's outside yourself. Best way to do that is get a notebook, write down how you're feeling before you go somewhere. And then when you're there, note how it changes. Does it change around somebody? Does it change in a particular area with nobody else around? What changes? How do you feel that is different from how you felt when you got there? Are there any outside influences that would cause that change? Or is it solely that type of interference from spirit? Once you can figure out how to do that, and it isn't as difficult as I'm making it sound, it really isn't, but you got to be honest. Again, all of this, y'all, is about being honest with yourself, okay? All of it. 100%, okay? Because I don't care what you say with your mouth. I don't care what you put on social media. I don't care how you build yourself up. I don't care how much you convince other people how fabulous you are. The universe knows. And they will deliver. So be careful what you claim you got. Okay? Because it could suck. All right? Seen it happen. So anyway, be honest. Be honest about it. You know, and here's the thing. If you feel a certain way, and let's say that you go to a place that everybody just claims is just haunted to beat the band, and you don't feel anything, that's okay too. Don't beat yourself up. Might not be your place. Might not be your time. Okay? Might not be your place, might not be your time. But if you go in there and you're overwhelmed, also step back. Take that as a warning sign. Not to go head first if you don't have to. Okay? Again, do as I say, not as I do. Because we all know what I do. Claire, let me see here. I have a hard time pronouncing this one. Clairalience. Oh, I did it. I did it. Okay, so this one is the bane of my existence. This is clear smelling. And I will tell you why. I am fluent in English, sarcasm, and that's pretty much it. Okay? English and sarcasm. That's where we're at. And maybe some sweet words every now and then. So I don't know a whole lot of foreign languages out there unless you're talking about dental terms. So when I have a loved one come through that is from a foreign country, or that has, oh by the way, Beetlejuice shirt, that has a deep accent that I can't understand, or speaks a language that I can't understand, they love to let me know where they're from through food. Yes, by making me smell it a lot. Not always things I want to eat, or would even enjoy eating. Certain things that turn my stomach. Okay? Sauerkraut being one of them. Can't take it. Rhubarb, can't take it. No, thank you. I just can't. Cannot handle the smell of rhubarb pie. And I'll tell you why. Pregnant with Grayson, walked into Yankee Candle. First thing I smelled was them, burning a strawberry rhubarb pie. I walked straight out of Yankee Candle to the trash can on the upstairs of the mall and threw up. Can't be around it since. So the clear smelling, that's not fun for me. It's not my favorite. Okay? And it doesn't necessarily have to be just food. It can be fire. Okay? It can be blood. That's also not fun. Okay? Because blood has a smell. The other, and this is the worst. Oh God, this is the worst. And I dealt with this a lot doing dentistry, believe it or not. Cancer has a smell. A lot of people don't know that, but it does. And when you're sensitive in that way, you get it and you smell it before those who are trained get it. And I mean, I seriously, y'all, I've pegged it months before diagnosis. So that's hard. That's hard. Yeah, Joe says yes, it does. It does. But clear smelling is also good for another thing. Well, actually, it's not just clear smelling, it's clear taste too, which is, did we do clear taste? I don't know. Yeah, we did clear taste, didn't we? No, we're getting ready to, so we're going to combine these two. Clairgustance. Okay, Augustance. Clairgustance. I don't know, I'm trying to be cool when I say it. I sound like poo. So that clairgustance is clear taste. So if you combine the two, that is one of your best determinations as to whether or not you are in the presence of evil. And I'm not talking demonic, although it could be. Okay? But I'm talking evil. Person evil. Okay? Because, oh, believe me, they exist. They exist. And for me, it's weird because I will get that burned smell in my nose, like burned hair. But it tastes like a charcoal briquette in my mouth, which is not fun. So those are kind of good warning clairs. Okay? They really are. I mean, when you're talking about something like that, when you've got that warning system that lets you know, hey, this isn't good. This isn't a good place to be in, okay? So this isn't a good person to be around. When you have that, and you know there is absolutely no reason in the world for you to be tasting or smelling that, listen, okay? I cannot recommend that enough, because that is just the powers that be bestowing on you something that most people don't know how to tap into, that can save your tushy from a whole lot of heartache. Okay? So sometimes all these things aren't about speaking to the dead or anything like that. Sometimes they're actually meant to help you and can be used as such. Let me see what you wrote there, Joe. I smell lilacs when my grandmother is near. It was, yeah. Yeah, and they let you know. They let you know in all kinds of ways. It's funny. I did a reading once for someone where I'm not bragging. Enough of y'all have had readings with me. You know, I'm not really wrong. It's a rarity. Okay. Actually, I don't even think it's happened, except for this one time. And they could not figure out the reading for themselves. They ended up calling me an hour later and said it was from a sister who was in my house an hour before the reading. Okay. And it had to do with certain smells that I was smelling. I've also been doing a reading and been able to tell, and keep in mind, my readings are over the phone. I'm not looking at you. Been able to tell somebody what they're cooking. Seriously. What they're cooking. When they're cooking it. Okay? So, I mean, all of those things, they're there for a reason. Not always there for a special reason, but they're there, you know? And sometimes it's just to let you know you still got it. You're still on the right path. Don't abuse it. Be a good girl. Be a good boy, you know? Keep your ego in check, but you still got it. Okay? Now, that brings us to... Let's see here. Oh, this is a tough one. This is one that's hard to explain. Okay? And so I kind of like it best using what they used to say in Game of Thrones. You know, it's claircognizance, clear knowing. Okay? Remember what that guy said, you know, I'm so and so and I know things or something like that. When people ask me how I know certain things, I'm like, I don't know. Well, why don't you know how you know them? Because I don't care. I just know them. Now I'm Vanessa, and I know stuff. I don't have to explain it. I don't have to know the reason. I don't have to know where it's coming from. I don't care. As long as it's helpful, I really don't care. Okay? And I've found that my clients are actually really okay with that. If they're not, they're sure sweet about it. You know, and they tolerate me not caring where it comes from, as long as it's helpful. But the claircognizance, the clear knowing, that is one that will help you tremendously, but also get you in the worst trouble. It's hard to turn off. And when you are working in an environment with a lot of people, when you are in an environment with a lot of people, when you're around a lot of people, you can't help but pick things up. And you don't mean to. I sure as heck don't mean to. It's taken me years to figure out how to block that until I need to open it up. It literally took me years and years to figure out how to do that. Because I don't want to know all your stuff. It's none of my business. It's none of my business to know your stuff. Unless you need me to know your stuff. You see what that is. What does it mean if you're in a store or a group of people and you get a sickening sweet taste in your mouth? Any ideas? Happens to me a lot. The sickening sweet taste. That is unpleasant and another form of being in the presence. There you go. Being in the presence of negative energy. Okay? It's the way that I describe that, and you let me know if this is correct. I don't have any other way to say what that is, except it feels like it feels and tastes like old syrup gum. And I know that sounds so strange, but it's old, so it's right at that level of turning, you know, like it's going bad, but it's still sweet, and it's almost like the sugar in it has crystallized, but it's sticky. Does that make sense? So, I mean, that's, because I know exactly what you're talking about, and I cannot stand it when that happens, but that is what I have always been able to equate that to. And again, doesn't mean that it's something, you know, otherworldly. We have enough evil right here, y'all. You know, if you have to deal with the other stuff, fine. It is a rarity. We got enough right here, okay? Okay, so yes, you said that makes sense. Good, good, good. And for everybody that I can't see because I need new glasses, hi, and I love you. But yeah, so no, I know exactly what you mean. And when you get that, that's a time to take a step back and survey your surroundings. You will find, as you learn to kind of hone it a little bit, that it's kind of like you can kind of turn in each direction to see where it is stronger. And you can kind of beeline in to where it might be coming from. And then you can decide how to proceed with that particular situation. Let's see here. I have smelled lavender. Yes. Now let me see okay, so the clear knowing, again, just to go a little bit deeper into that one. Again, hardest. Most difficult because people, they get angry at you. They get angry at you for knowing things. You don't mean to. You don't want to. They get mad at you. And so you learn to be quiet. And you learn to not say things. You know? And you generally learn that the hard way. True story. Okay? Which is fine. Sometimes when you learn things the hard way, it's the best way. But it does wreak the most havoc on you, because it especially when you're just starting out and you can't help but know more than you should about the people that you're around without them telling you, because you haven't learned to block it yet. There tends to be a lot of resentment. You know, I dealt with that in relationships. You know, more with all of them. So it's kind of funny. I mean, I can actually use my very last pseudo relationship in regards to that. I'm sure everybody picked up on it. I had an online relationship with Adam Davis, for the crypto guy, for over a year, and we vacationed in North Carolina. And you know, I even knew. I knew what was going on with that. I'm not stupid, you know. Don't have to be in the room with you to know. You know, you can be as loving and as attentive and everything as you want, but I know. And that's why when things happen the way that they did, I wasn't even shocked. I'm like, all right, well, good luck to you. And then I hung the phone up and went out and played Skyrim with my son. And Gray was like, you okay, Mom? I'm like, yeah. Because I already knew. You know, I'm just playing it out, see how it played out, you know. And that's kind of how you have to do it. Because you can't not live. Okay? You can't not participate in life. Because you know. Alright? So it's up to you to decide what you do with that information and how you deal with it. So, you know, and I mean, that was years now. Good gravy, you know. I mean, it's been, 3 years? So I'm not harping on it or nothing, but that's my best example, my most recent example. So when you know something, you know something, and it's up to you to decide what to do with that information and how you want to live your life. Let's get into the last three. And let's see here, not to backtrack, but I smoke cigars, smoke frequently, and neither Mike nor I smoke. No, that makes perfect sense. The funny thing is I don't think that is a relative. That's not a relative. I don't know if you had your house built, or if somebody lived there before you, or at least in that general area. To me, it predates you in regards to that area, but it's not relation to you. So, okay, so you did, yeah. So, yeah, it predates you, but it's not relation to you. And I don't even feel like it's interacting with you. You're just aware of it. But he might not be aware of you. So, as long as there isn't anything negative that is coming from that, oh, yeah, it was a farm, yeah. Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. So yeah, as long as there's nothing negative coming from it, let him have a cigar. Let him be. Let's see here. Okay, so these are the three that are. Okay, so one of them, I totally understand why they're bringing it in to make it 7 senses. The other two, hello. The other two, I just think they're a given. Okay. So, and sorry y'all, I am so exhausted. I'm laying back. So, clairtangency. So that's clear touching. Another one that sucks. Okay, it sucks. And anyone who has ever dealt with that understands that sometimes you pick up something. And I've been in a flea market before and done this. I've had to catch myself from throwing things. Where you pick up something and it's just like a bolt of lightning. And you can see what you don't want to see, and you can feel what you don't want to feel. And it's like all of the clairs just come rushing at you just from touching that. Okay? That clear touching, it's weird. It kind of encompasses all of them all at once. And that's not fun. Okay? That sucks. So that is one thing that if you deal with that already, if you already know that when you touch things that this can happen, or that you can kind of have a rush of emotion or some type of situation happen from doing that, then you definitely, hi Robert, then you definitely need to be careful. I am so careful now when I go into flea markets, antique stores, thrift stores, you name it. I am so careful. And one of the things that I am less likely to pick up is jewelry. So much emotion. So much emotion. And jewelry boxes, ironically enough. So much emotion. I also am very wary of picking up anything military. Anything military. Because for some reason military dudes love me, and I don't know why. They love talking. Say, oh my God, I can't stand to touch something or someone. Yes, absolutely. It can be awful. Now, there are times when you pick up something and it's just so much love. Okay? So much love. Those are great. Okay? I love that. But you don't know that until you pick it up 9 times out of 10. Okay? So, again, clairtangency, clear touching. Okay, clear feeling. Let's see, what is it called when you go into a place or a house or really anywhere, and you get clear images of what has happened there? Hold on, I got slow connection right in front of me. Okay, so, and you feel the energy swirling around you. Oh, well, that's going to deal more with clairvoyance, because it can be past, present, and future. Okay, that's really more with clairvoyance. Clairvoyance, which is the clear, the clairvoyance, which is the clear seeing, but it can also be claircognizance. So it can be a combination of the two. It happened to me when I was really young, a lot. Okay, it happens to me now, but I can control it now. But it happened to me when I was young, a lot. And that's difficult, because it can actually start happening to you before you even get to where you're going. All right? Before you even get to where you're going. It's like they know you're coming, and they're reaching out to you. So you got to be careful with that. So if the feelings are overwhelming, throw up a partial shield. Okay? Throw up a partial shield. Which can be something as simple as, throwing your arm up and just saying, this is going to, this level, this is all I'm going to accept right now. Okay? It can be you visualizing yourself shielded. It can be white light. It can be purple light. It can be whatever you want, whatever makes you feel comfortable and secure. Okay? You don't have to block it completely if you don't want to, but you can filter. Okay? You can filter. And it's totally okay to do so. The next one, this is the one which I have a hard time with. Okay? Simply because, to me, it's kind of like labeling something for the purpose of labeling something. And it's called a clear intellect, which is clear thinking. All right. Okay. So is that not completely encompassed by the other things that we've been discussing here? As far as, clear knowing and clear seeing? I mean, I think that's all. So to me, that just seems, but I wanted to bring it up because it's out there and I didn't want anyone to say that I didn't bring it up. Okay. But yeah, clear thinking. Okay. You're thinking and all of this other stuff. So if they're clear with the knowing and the seeing, you're good. The last one I get. I kind of understand. Okay. Clear empathy, which is clear empathy. This is one that to me is less of an ability and more of a result of you honing your abilities. Because empathy will take you down. Empathy will take you down until you know what emotions are yours and what emotions aren't. Because empaths literally absorb the emotions of others. We can't help it. Okay? So, to have clear empathy, that means that you have done the work and you understand how to compartmentalize and categorize those emotions. So that when you are processing those feelings that belong to somebody else, you are doing it with a clear mind. You are not affected. You are able to separate yourself on an emotional level so that you can help in whatever way you can, while still maintaining your sanity. Okay, let me look at some of the questions here. Okay, so that's the reason why I won't drive certain roads. Oh, 100%. Okay, I do the one with the dream, the future. Yeah, okay. Crap, I'm gonna have to go back and look at all of these, y'all. I love you so much, but I gotta get new glasses. Okay, so yeah, because I mean I'm having to look like this and y'all looking at my nose like that. But yeah, I mean it's all of them are tied together. They are in one way or another. But to me, the last one's really is just kind of taking all of them and kind of lumping it together. But at least you can say that you know that when somebody talks about the 9 clairs, these are them. And just to recap, we're just going to recap real quick, and then I'm going to have to get something to eat. Okay, so clairaudience is clear hearing. And just remember that audience is listen to you. Audience is listen to you. Okay, so clairaudience, clear hearing. Okay, clairvoyance is clear seeing. Going on a voyage, you're looking. Okay, you're clear seeing. Clairsentience is clear feeling. So there's no way for me to make that make sense, but yeah, clear feeling. All right, so that is what is coming through to you is pure and is understandable. Again, based on the work of learning how to separate it. Okay, cannot stress that enough, because again, some of these will take you down. Okay, clairalience, clear smelling. Vanessa's one of her least favorite. Okay, that's just simple, and you've all experienced it to some degree. So this isn't new. It's just we're going over them. That's all. Clairgustance, the clear tasting. Another one of my least favorites. So be mindful of that. Remember, that one's twofold. Now, granted, clairalience can be twofold as well, and they can be used together as well. When it comes to spirit communication, them letting you know where they're from, letting you smell the particular cookies they used to make all the time that were specific to them, so that whoever you're talking to knows that you've got the right person. Or it can let you know, hey, dude over here in the corner or chick over here in the corner, not good people. I want to keep my distance. Okay? It's that inner alarm. They're going to let you know. Okay? So those can be used for both spirit communication and both a protective sense for yourself. Important to know. Okay? And then we are going to go with claircognizance, which is the clear knowing. Work on the ability to block when you are A, with groups of people, B, with people that you love that maybe don't want you in their business because you won't mean to be in it, but you will be. Okay? And it's hard to have a poker face in that. Okay? It's really hard to have a poker face when it comes to the clear knowing. Because if you sense something, and you know, and you feel, and you hear, and you see, and you taste something, and they're not ready to share that, but they can see it on your face that you know, they feel violated. And you don't want to be that person. Okay? So work on that. Work on doing that. Not everybody wants you all up in their noggin. Okay? That brings us to those final three. The clairtangency. Watch your hands. Be mindful of what you touch. Be mindful of what you pick up. If you're sensitive to that, work on that. Okay? I have been known to pull my sleeves down and touch something with my sleeve, so I don't have to touch it with my hand. Okay? Not uncommon. The clear intellect, we already know how I feel about that. And the clear empathy, being able to separate yourself, really super important, because that's a lifesaver for you. Okay? All of these work in concert with each other, but they work just as well by themselves. Neither is more important than the other. It doesn't mean you are any less gifted if you have 4 of these and not 3 of these, any more than if the other person has 4 of those but doesn't have 3 of these. Nobody is any more important than the other. None of these are any more important than the other. Okay? They all relay the pertinent information needed at the time. Because I am here to tell you something. Spirits know which ones you got. And they'll pick them. So don't feel bad if you don't see them. Don't feel bad if you don't feel them. But if you can smell them and relay a particular cologne or cigar or, sounds crazy, but food, or the fact that they got motor oil on them all the time, or anything like that that was pertinent to that person, that is going to mean something to the person you're telling it to. They're not going to care if you can see them. Okay? If and when the time comes that you need to, you will. So, don't worry about that. Don't put that stress on yourself. Don't do it. The ones you have, or the ones that you feel the most comfortable dealing with, work on those. Hone those. Get comfortable. When the time comes to open up the other ones, if and when, you will have the confidence to do so, because you have built the confidence in the others. So give yourself some grace. Okay? Anyway, y'all, I've got to go feed my belly. Okay? I'm hungry. So, I hope that was okay. I love y'all. I'm going to look at the comments here in just a little bit after I get some grub in me. But if y'all have any questions, just go ahead and put them underneath here. And I'm going to try to get to them as quick as I can. And I love y'all. Thank you for hopping in. Mwah! Bye.